Danie Mellor's work includes kangaroos made out of ceramics, wood and feathers. If you saw the Culture Warriors exhibition at the National Gallery, you won't have missed him. Danie Mellor has just received a major art prize and he's based right here in Canberra. He commutes to teach at Sydney University and has also just completed his doctorate. His home in Canberra is also his studio, and I met him there for a chat about life and art. And a warning to Indigenous viewers, this story contains images of a person who has died.
My feeling is art is almost like a reflective medium, in a sense, on an individual sense, and also in a broader sense as well. So it can reflect sort of individual values, attitudes and beliefs and so on, and in a broader sense it can reflect those of society or nationality and so on.
And it's his own rich cultural heritage mix from which Canberra-based artist Danie Mellor draws inspiration. His father is an American-Australian, while his mother is Irish Aboriginal. The Australian landscape and Indigenous themes feature strongly in his art.
The shields are kind of based on Indigenous shields from the rainforest area, which is where my mother's family come from. This is the Atherton tablelands around Cairns. And so I began to make shields, but they were made from a sort of very different, I guess, contemporary sort of material, which was reclaimed steel. And these were cut from travelling trunks. And the patination and the designs on the metal shield sort of mimicked in some way the dresses that that women in my mother's family would wear for photographs. And these sort of old dresses were kind of presentations. They were incongruous because they were black women in this incredibly formal sort of I'm not sure how you describe it, almost like a photographic get-up. Politics of the Australian landscape had to do with the presence of different cultures and people. So prior to settlement, it was a landscape peopled by Aboriginal people. Since 1788, we do have sort of a shared history, some of it not so happy, some of it happier. And in that sense, what's important, I guess, in the work that I'm doing is to introduce the concept of shared history.
And it's a concept that's proving a hit with art lovers and critics. Danie Mellor's work is sold and exhibited overseas and in most major galleries around the country. He has just won a national award for this piece, called An Unsettled Vision.
The picture itself shows two koalas, a mother and a child, climbing up a eucalyptus branch, and in the background there is a spode wedgewood, almost like a conglomerate of designs, Gothic English architecture. It's very interesting that the patterns and designs were mixed and mismatched in the way they were, and I quite like that in terms of sort of visual references to different cultures and different parts of the world, and bringing it in relation to one of Australia's sort of Indigenous animals, like the koala. It talks about incongruity and the way the Australian landscape was changed and the place that wildlife, flora and fauna have in that sort of settled landscape. But to some extent it is a little bit tongue-in-cheek and it is a little bit kitsch.
The backdrop of much of Danie Mellor's work is influenced by, of all things, the family china and its screen prints from old-fashioned dinner sets. How hard is it to keep generating the work?
It's hard.
So is that why you work at home like this and have your home set up as a studio?
Absolutely. I find that working at home is a very comfortable and comforting thing to do. And so, in that sense, I guess it becomes less difficult. We tend to use different parts of the house for different things, and if we need sort of a quiet time, we might go to a different part of the house. I always sort of usually end up working around the kitchen, or in the kitchen, or on a wall near the kitchen for drawing and so on.
While you're chopping the vegetables or...
Something like that. That's been known to happen.
So this kitchen wall really is your studio, Danie. What are we
It's part
doing
of it,
here? Yeah, tell us about this picture.
This is where I do my drawings. And at the moment I'm working on a set of drawings for the show in Perth at the Holmes Court Gallery.
Describe it for us. Have you got a title for it?
Yes, it's going to be called Jojo the Joey.
Okay.
For obvious reasons.
Yes, for obvious reasons. And there are Joeys of the sculptured kind throughout Danie Mellor's home studio. They're a signature piece of his, some made with chips of English china or slivers of gold-plated material. What makes a good artist, do you think?
Someone who's able to make ideas visible, really, and with some degree of truth and integrity to that. It's really important that, I guess, the translation of concepts and invisible ideas are made concrete and real through, the simplest way to put it is art materials, and to make things that can be spoken about and shown and discussed and enjoyed, and it's important that part of all of that process is fun.